Hello, and welcome to A Parental Survival Guide to Kids and Social Media, presented by myself, Dr. Brett Novick, school social worker and counselor at Osborneville Elementary School. I think all of us know that social media has exploded in the last several years. Many of us use social media to communicate to those within our community and those around the world. We use it to learn new information, to purchase items. And social media has been embraced by our youngest generation as well. Here are some statistics on social media relating to our elementary students. A recent poll indicates that 50% of our children between the ages of 10 and 12 and 33% of those ages 7 to 9 are using social media applications such as Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok. 53% of children ages 11 and under have smartphones capable of interacting on social media. The majority of social media platforms, however, require a user to be at least 13 years of age in the terms of service agreement. But approximately 38% of children from ages 8 to 12 are using those social media platforms. The biggest challenge we as parents face in social media are 39% report monitoring children is very time consuming, too time consuming. 21% indicate that they are not able to find the necessary parental control information, and 32% are finding that their children, when they do find these parental controls, are finding ways around them. It's important to know what social media applications our children are most using. In the case of videos, and one of the most popular applications our children use is YouTube, but rapidly becoming as popular, if not more popular, is TikTok. To communicate with family members, they tend to use WhatsApp, and to communicate with friends, they tend to use Snapchat. Also, to post photographs, they use Instagram or Snapchat. They tend to shy away from Twitter, or what is now called X, and although Facebook remains one of the more popular applications for adults, children and teens tend to see that as a less popular application because they tend to see it as more of an application their parents use. With social media applications, there have become a plethora of different social media applications and platforms. It's important as consumers that we know what each of these applications does so we understand when our children talk about them, what they are about. Facebook's main purpose is in building relationships, in friending people. Twitter, or X, tends to be more about news and articles and carrying on a conversation. Pinterest is about hobbies and scrapbooking. YouTube has a number of videos. Some of them are how to, or lifestyle, or educational, or entertainment. LinkedIn is more about vocation and news and articles relating to workplace things. Instagram is about building relationships and conversation, but tends to remain mostly around images and videos. TikTok talks about building relationships and conversations, but again, these are mostly centered around videos, and they're around a very specific demographic. As you look at these, you'll also see an age range. Most of these age ranges tend to go from young adult on. It's important as children talk about these that you understand what these are about, what their purposes are, what they're best for, as well as what their downsides are. We have all seen the benefits of social media. It keeps us in touch with our friends in our community, and people around the world. It allows us to be up to date on news, to purchase things, but it also presents some dangers for our most impressionable children. And so it's important to look on the flip side and see the dangers that social media can present for children. First, a study of children determined that those who spend 3 or more hours per day on social media doubled the chances of depression, anxiety, ADHD, self harm, and eating disorders. Additionally, 1 of every 5 children is now the victim of cyberbullying. Of those, 58% of children said they were victimized by someone they know, with just 46% indicating they had been cyberbullied by a stranger. And cyberbullying is so much more different than traditional bullying in that traditional bullying we know takes place in certain areas. It might take place in the playground, it might take place at recess, it might take place on the bus. Cyberbullying takes place everywhere. In fact, the place it takes most is in the closed bedroom doors of our children's rooms where we think they are most safe. 64% of our youth are often or sometimes exposed to hate based material on social media platforms. More than 1.5 million American children had their identities stolen last year alone. And when their identities are stolen, that presents an issue not just for the child, but also for the parents whose identities also are at risk. 12.5% of children under 12 years of age in a large survey also admitted to waking up at night to check notifications at least once per night, therefore impacting their ability to sleep or have a sound sleep. Social media, texting, and the cyber world has created a whole new language of abbreviations and cyber lingo that teenagers, adults, and children use to communicate about different things. This is just a partial list to help understand that cyber lingo, those abbreviations and acronyms of what are being said in our technology forums. Our children now are citizens in two worlds. They're citizens in their community and also in the digital world. And being citizens of the digital world, we have to prepare them as well. We talk about the 9 P's for proactive knowledge. They have to be aware of their passwords, their privacy, keeping track of their personal information, that photos in the digital world should not be shared. Their property, just like in the material world, has to be kept safe. Who they give permission to, their protection, as well as how they speak to people, just as they speak in the real community, how they speak to people in the digital community. And that whatever they do say in the digital community, unlike in our regular community, is out there permanently. So, as we talk with them about being digital citizens, we have to be mindful of these 9 P's. So, how do we block content on social media that's inappropriate for our children? Whether or not you decide to allow your child to be on one or multiple social media accounts is a deeply personal parental decision. But there are ways to control what our children see on social media, what they see on their phones or on their computers. These are some common parental controls. They won't block all the inappropriate content, but they will certainly give you more control and opportunity to avoid some of the content that might not be appropriate for our children. It is always helpful with anything to have a plan. Of course, having a family media plan can be helpful to decide how we want to look at social media as a family. This plan helps to develop, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, a plan for your entire family. It's just one idea, but can help you develop a blueprint of how you want to look at social media from a family perspective. As adults, when we look into a serious agreement, we come to a contract, an agreement in which we sign. It's good to get our children into understanding that when we have something that we agree upon seriously, to have a contract. This is an example of one of many family social media contracts and can act as a template if you do decide to use it. I know in this busy world that it takes a lot to spend even a few moments to watch a PowerPoint like this. So thank you for the value of your time as we work together for the benefit of our most valuable resource, our future generation. Our kids, now more than ever, are barraged with so much information. Some of that information is good, some of that information is beyond their years. And we certainly want our children to remain children as long as possible. They have a lifetime to be adults. So let your children live as children. They're only that little for a short while. Thank you for your time, and thank you for working with us together to make our children and our next generation as strong as possible. Have a good day.